Here it is at last, the Helios Tarot forecast for the month, or Tarot Horoscope drawn specifically for your astrological zodiac sign. I'm B.R. Newman, in case you didn't know that already. Check out my website, IamHelios.com, through the link below, and consider everything that I have to offer there. Consider signing up to receive any number of the personal readings that I offer, or consider signing up to take a course. The choice is yours. There's a lot to explore there. Also consider checking out Annie Botticelli's Storyteller forecasts to see the astrological side of everything you're going to see here. It's fascinating, I promise. So, okay, I guess we'll just jump right into it.
So here it is, Scorpio, your 5-card Helios spread for the month of October. This is like a condensed Golden Dawn spread, which uses 15 cards, but in this case we have 5 to the same effect. We have a central theme, 2-dimensional timeline options for you to choose from, a past section, and a fate section. In your central theme, or that which most adequately sums up the whole story arc of this tarot spread, is the Fortune card. Change, karma, destiny, luck, all working in favor of you gaining control over the steering wheel of your life. Like all of these major arcana cards, there is a prerequisite, in which case this is a pure conscience. So, in some way, some kind of debt needs to be paid. Some kind of balance needs to be restored. And this can be achieved through a simple act of kindness, showing up for someone that you wouldn't normally show up for, a few expressions of acknowledgement, or a generous display of appreciation. All of these things can actually act as the prerequisite that would allow you to gain the kind of control that you require. And that would be because you would feel like you deserve it. It really is that simple. You need to feel like you deserve the control that you require. Having such control enables you to navigate difficult terrain unharmed and perhaps even in a beneficial way, in a way that can be profitable. And so considering your fate section, there is going to be some of that, but we'll get to that when it becomes most relevant. Before then, we have to figure out which of these dimensional timeline options is going to most serve you. So you have the Star on one hand, another heavy-hitting, high-gravity major arcana card, and then the Six of Wands on the other side. So firstly, the Star card is about faith, it's about trust, it's about accepting one's own capacity to perform miracles, accepting also one's own place in the universe, which is an overseeing, guiding, intelligent force that has some divine plan in which you play an essential role. So all of that kind of energy, so you can feel into that to your liking. And so that, of course, has a prerequisite, like all of the other major arcana cards, and the prerequisite is the Wheel of Fortune. So in order to, quite simply, in order to feel that you deserve the kind of control you require to navigate the difficult terrain that may be ahead of you, you need to clear up some debts and clean up a bit of a mess, wherever that mess or debt may be. And that then becomes the prerequisite for the Star, in which case that faith that of course is inherent in the Star is governed by reason. There's reason to be faithful because you're in control. So you have the power, you understand it, and you have faith in it, faith in your own abilities, and then faith in your in the validity of your own place within the greater cosmic intelligence. So the other dimensional timeline is not necessarily a bad one. It's the Six of Wands, and all sixes in tarot correspond to Sphirith 6 Tiferet on the Tree of Life. And the Tiferet is about spirituality, integration, and compassion itself. And as manifest through wands or through fire, this is success after trials. So we see here that we have the same kind of thing going on, where you gain control through your central theme, or you gain the self-trust, and you gain the sense of worthiness to have that kind of control, and then you succeed. So this, of course, does also indicate that there are some trials ahead, and that's indicated by the Ace of Swords in your fate section. But the emphasis of the Six of Wands is not on the trials. It's on the success after the challenges. So since you do have the same kind of thing going on, there's some kind of transcendence, some sort of personal milestone is achieved. But the Star is simply the higher expression of this potential. It being a major arcana card represents a higher point in personal growth, or higher potential for personal growth, and also greater navigating ability. So the success of the Six of Wands can manifest any number of ways, but you will have less say in the way in which those successes pan out for you, if that makes sense, through that path. Whereas through the Star, you will have the kind of control through the Wheel of Fortune that leads directly into faith, guided and governed by reason, justified by one's own worthiness to have such control. And that sort of carries over that energy and that potential and that power through the Star, through that shared relationship between the two major arcana cards into the Ace of Swords in your Fate section, and that's the kind of thing we'd want to see when the Ace of Swords, or when a card like this does come up. So this Ace of Swords is the primordial essence of air, and so this often is some decided action. So you're going to make a big decision. You're going to make a judgment, and you're going to decide to actualize that decision. And that in itself is not challenging. However, the challenging does come from the fact that by activating the Ace of Swords, you're activating the Swords suit. So all of these numerical minor arcana cards are storylines, and the storyline of the Swords is not necessarily a pleasant one. The sword here is a double-edged one, absolutely. When you're controlling and sedating reality and forcing things to happen, there are repercussions. The storyline of the Sword suit is like a pendulum swinging from neutral to aggressive, back to neutral to aggressive. The aggressive point being conflict and drama, and the end result of all of this is the Ten of Swords, which is called the card of ruin. And the storyline unfolds for a good reason. It's teaching humility. So no doubt through the experience of the Ace of Swords, you're quite humbled, and so the idea is if you have humility first, then you don't need the dead mechanism of the universe to take over and quite impersonally and perhaps recklessly teach you lessons of humility, taking things away, placing restraints where you perhaps don't need them if you can simply just be humble now. So let's outline the best case scenario, starting with what inspired all of this. The Emperor in your past section. The Emperor has to do with ambition, authority, and stability. So at some point in time quite recently, you relevantly made a decision to empower yourself, to make a change, to step up, to gain a perhaps new level of control, right? So then in order to gain that level of control, now in the present, you have to feel like you deserve it through the Wheel of Fortune. When you do perform some kind of act of kindness and, pay off some debts or restore balance where there is imbalance currently, in gaining that control, you then, through the star, have faith guided by reason. You have faith in yourself and your own abilities, faith in the universe, and so on, because you have a kind of mastery of the whole mechanism that you didn't have before. And then if you then carry humility with you forward into the challenging terrain before you, then you won't have to endure the harsh lessons of the Swords suit. Also, we have to consider the implications of taking the other dimensional timeline. Since you are presently gaining control over your life in a way that you haven't, you could perhaps choose to act without faith, perhaps through overly cautious, meticulous over-analysis, and that may end up resulting in the kind of victory that you would see in the Six of Wands, and that may be quite good. That may be quite positive in itself. You will achieve the victory, over the success after the trials, as is promised, but then once you enter the Ace of Swords paradigm, you won't necessarily have the tools you require. You would achieve that success, which may in fact set you up to carry over a kind of false sense of security into the Ace of Swords paradigm, which would then, sort of sign you up for a rather humbling lesson. And I really don't think you need that, according to your central theme being the card of fortune. You've charted a path of self-improvement as it is. So I guess keep up the good work.
And that about wraps this up for the month. So thank you for listening to this and for watching. Please do consider contacting me for a personal reading. We can take this so far and go so much deeper than we have here. It's pretty remarkable, really. You can gain so much, as many people have already. IamHelios.com is the website. I'm B.R. Newman. Thanks again.